Jan, I think this might have been one of your questions. At 68, still in full-time missionary work, am thinking of accessing most of super to go towards paying the mortgage. Now, I think the rest of the question was cut off, but I think it's a good idea. It's not a bad idea. How aggressively you do it is the big question. Like, do you just put $10,000 off it every month or every 3 months or every year, or do you pay it all off in one lump sum? That's the bigger question, I think. I think it's not whether you do it or not, it's whether how aggressive or how quickly you do it. Because by the time you finish up your missionary work, assuming that your funding stops and you then need to provide for your own retirement, you don't really want to have that debt there. As an aside, I have a number of missionary type clients who they own their own home, they rent out that home, but because they're considered non-tax residents, they're taxed on the first dollar at the 34.5% tax rate, which isn't good, because if you're generating say 20 grand in rent, you're losing a third of that in tax. There is a strategy where if you are satisfying the work test and you're leasing your home out, you can make deductible contributions to super to effectively more than halve that tax rate. It's like salary sacrificing, but it's reducing your tax rate by half by making a contribution to super, claiming a deduction on it, and reducing your taxable income. So say, for example, you're renting your home, it's generating $20,000 of taxable income. That's your only taxable income in Australia, for example. You do need to consider the tax agreements with the country that you're working in if you are doing that. But say, for example, you're renting the home for 20 grand. If you did nothing else and you were a foreign tax resident, you would be paying, I think it's 34.5% tax on that money. So at least a third of that. So let's say broadly, say 7 grand tax. What you can do is make a $20,000 contribution to your super fund and claim a deduction on it. Now, when you claim a deduction on contributions, the contributions tax is 15%, or 10% is $3,000 would be the contributions tax rate. But what that does is it reduces your taxable income, because it's a deduction, reduces your taxable income to zero. And then you've effectively saved, it's not quite $4,000, but it's between $3,000 and $4,000 of tax by doing so. So something to consider if you're a missionary in that sort of scenario where you're considered a foreign tax resident.